County in 12, following their 1-1 midweek draw at Selhurst Park against Crystal Palace. But it was a game in which Derby County suffered yet another injury to the long list, and they're forced today to make changes as a result of that. And the Derby County side is as follows. I'll just give you the information with regard to the mascot first. The Derby County mascot is 10-year-old Neil Cowie, who attends Ravensdale School, Mickleover. He enjoys playing and watching football, and his favourite Rams stars are Ted McMinn and Dean Saunders. The Derby County line up as follows. Peter Shilton in goal, Mel Sage at 2 and Michael Forsyth 3 are the fullbacks. Central defence, Mark Wright, the captain, at 5, and Rob Hindmarch replaces Paul Blades at number 6. Paul Blades suffering a burst blood vessel in that match against Crystal Palace. Blood vessel was in his leg. The midfield, Paul Williams at 7, replacing Mark Patterson, who injured an ankle in the game at Crystal Palace. Number 4, Geraint Williams. Number 10 is Nick Pickering, and number 11, Robert Briscoe. The strike pair for Derby County, Dean Saunders and Mick Harford. And the substitutes, Kevin Francis and Steve Hayward. Steve Hayward making his first venture into the first team squad. Arsenal, they have John Lukic in goal. The fullbacks, Lee Dixon and Nigel Winterbird at 2 and 3 respectively. The central defensive pair, Steve Bold at 5, Tony Adams 6. Midfield, Michael Thomas 4, Martin Hayes 7, replacing David Rocastle. Kevin Richardson at 8, and Perry Groves at 11, and the strike pair, Alan Smith at 9 and Kevin Campbell at 10. Their substitutes, David O'Leary and Kwame Ampadu. And there we have the two mascots of Arsenal. And they are Laura and Jamie Green from Golders Green. And I hope they enjoy their time here at the baseball ground. They're just meeting up now with their opposite number, Neil Cowie, and referee Mr. Allison this afternoon, Mr. D.B. Allison of Lancaster, the linesman Mr. G. Makin and Mr. K.H. Hoare, and it's Mr. Makin with the red trim to his flag. So there we have Kevin Richardson, the Arsenal midfielding pitcher, moving over to Steve Bold, former Stoke City player. As the captains and the mascots there running to the centre. Derby County, of course, lost to league leaders Aston Villa last Saturday by 1-0. Goal scored by Ormond Droid. Came on as substitute in the second half for former Derby County favourite Nigel Callaghan. Arsenal, in the meantime, were losing 1-0 at home to Chelsea. And that virtually ended their interest in the league title, but they are still third. Well, a good few points behind. Derby County, as I say, had to make these substitutions in their side, these changes, as a result of an ever-lengthening injury list. 3 this week have joined the injury list. I mentioned Paul Blades and Mark Patterson. The other one who is in the first team squad and was injured in the reserve game on Thursday night is Phil G. A tackle with Paul Power of Everton, experienced former Manchester City man, just caught Phil G rather awkwardly, and that's the result, another ankle injury to add to the knee injuries that plagued Derby County since the end of November. So we're coming up now to 3 o'clock. Mr. Allison ready to set the game in motion. Arsenal kicking off, defending the Osmaston end. That's the end behind which their support is massed. The ball through to number 10, Kevin Campbell. Kevin Richardson picking up. Williams, that's Geraint Williams tackling him. And it's Paul Williams with his first touch. belting the ball clear into the Arsenal half. Won't go out of play. Steve Bold picks it up and returns the ball to John Lukic, who could have been involved in the one of the biggest transfers for goalkeepers this week. This was the transfer deadline week, and Lukic should have been going to Queen's Park Rangers on loan, as Arsenal were prepared to pay 1.3 million for QPR goalkeeper David Seaman. John Lukic decided not to go, and therefore the deal fell through, and here he is today, when we were expecting David Seaman to make his debut. That's Tony Adams beating Mick Harford. Robbie Briscoe coming in. Paul Williams, Dean Saunders, and Mick Harford in, but Lukic saves at his feet. Good attack by Derby, and young Paul Williams, who is normally a left back for the Derby County reserve side, but playing on the right hand of midfield today, involved in that attack. Rob Hindmarch, who didn't play in the last two games. Paul Williams leaving it to Mick Harford, he chest down. Turns, looks for Saunders, but it's blocked by Thomas. Richardson helps it forward. Mark Wright slips. Got Martin Hayes snapping at his heels there, Mark Wright, but the ball back with Peter Shilton. Peter Shilton's kick looking for Mick Harford. He flicks on towards Dean Saunders, but it's Michael Thomas heading forward to Martin Hayes. Back to Tony Adams, the Arsenal captain. It's Geraint Williams, only finds Martin Hayes. Saging quickly, but it's Kevin Richardson. And they find him Mark Wright. It's Alan Smith, though, forcing the throw in. It's Mark Wright attempted to clear, and there's Mel Sage, who's celebrating his 26th birthday today. Mick Harford. Good layoff to Geraint Williams. Cross to Michael Forsyth. Got Robert Briscoe on the left. Tries to find him, but it's Lee Dixon. Intercepting, back to John Lukic. Lukic with the sun shining straight down on him. Paul Williams into touch. Nigel Winterburn, the Arsenal and England fullback, to take the throw. Former Wimbledon player, of course. Mark Wright. And he finds touch. Mick Harford unable to get hold of that one. Tony Adams fetching the ball. It's now down with Nigel Winterburn again. Alan Smith turns Mark Wright. There's Michael Forsyth blocking well. Treads on the ball. Now it's time to turn. Now Nick Pickering. Rushed off it by Michael Thomas. Kevin Richardson. And he finds Michael Forsyth. He's tackled by Perry Groves. Robert Briscoe helps him out. It's a throw to Arsenal. The wind gets up here at the baseball ground. Some rain early on, but the sun out now. A shower about 1 o'clock as well. Threatened to continue most of the afternoon. Just as I speak, the sun goes in. Perry Groves with the throw. Looking for Alan Smith. And there's Richardson going in, and it's Sage who clears. Finds Mick Harford. And was it across for Dean Saunders? There's Tony Adams there. Adams wins in the air. Paul Williams goes in, but Adams manages to propel the ball forward. But only for Peter Shilton to come out and collect. Peter Shilton's kick there, trying to find Saunders. It cannons off him for Arsenal's favour. Kevin Campbell now looking for Perry Groves, who's very quick, and Peter Shilton forced out of his area to fly kick into touch. Nigel Winterburn with the throw. Smith only finding Williams, but he can't control it. It's Kevin Richardson now playing it down for Kevin Campbell and Rob Hindmarch. Campbell first there, but into touch, and it's a throw to Arsenal. Winterburn into Richardson. Richardson with the cross, looking for Groves. Headed out by Forsyth. Pickering going in on Thomas, but it comes to Dixon. Smith flicks on. Martin Hayes, faced by Geraint Williams. Out to Groves. Groves with the first time cross. Campbell in there, so it's Smith. And it's the goal. Martin Hayes, indecision in the Derby defence, and Martin Hayes has put Arsenal ahead. That goal coming in 6 minutes. I was saying that before this game that some friends of mine that we hadn't won. In fact, when Mr. Allison had reffed here at Derby, not that it's Mr. Allison's fault, it just appeared to be a jinx. And of course, he refereed the Port Vale FA Cup replay, which Derby County lost 3-2. Near Arsenal, 1-0 in front. Geraint Williams forward into space, very much space. It was no use to Derby County. March. Paul Williams flicks on, but it's Kevin Richardson for Arsenal. Paul Williams in on Nigel Winterburn. Geraint Williams to Mel Sage. Dean Saunders flicks on, but only to Steve Bold for Arsenal. Lee Dixon, he'll tidy up by passing back to John Lukic, who won the 721 caps in his Leeds United days. He joined Arsenal for 75,000. I believe it seems chicken feed now, in 1983. That's Mel Sage above the goal scorer Martin Hayes. That's Tony Adams forward, only finds Geraint Williams. Williams through to Pickering. Good tackle by Adams. Hayes into Thomas. Pickering coming back, but Groves is quicker. Martin Hayes can't control the ball in the wind. And it's a throw into Derby County. Mel Sage to take it. Sage forward for McHarford, but Tony Adams there, looking for Alan Smith now, faced by Rob Hindmarch. Hindmarch handled the ball, free kick. To Arsenal, midway inside the Derby half. Fairly central position. Just a bit left of centre, perhaps. Kevin Richardson there with left-back Nigel Winterburn, who's got a healthy shot on him. Michael Thomas also there. Referee Allison waving the wall back as the ball moves off the turf in the wind. Arsenal kicking against the wind in this first half. And it's Winterburn chipping this time. Michael Harford heads out to Robert Biscoe. Paul Williams now on the Derby left. Perry Groves. Throw into Arsenal. Perry Groves to take it. Looking for Kevin Campbell. Rob Hindmarch there for Derby County. Plays it back to Peter Shilton. McHarford getting up well. Saunders chasing, but never likely to catch it, but gave it a good run. Arsenal haven't won here since November 1952, and they won by 2-1. So a near 38-year gap. But they're one up at the moment. That's Forsyth. And Pickering accelerating in between two Arsenal defenders, Bold and Dixon. Low cross, Saunders in. Adams out for the corner. Useful attack by Derby. They come up to 10 minutes. Well, what I thought was a corner, it's not been given. Goal kick. wind is very strong this afternoon. The goalkeepers are going to have trouble in parking the ball. Alan Smith beaten by Mark Wright. Balls for Winterburn, but Adams comes in first. Smith again beaten by Wright. Perry Groves picks up for Arsenal. Cross for Lee Dixon, but Briscoe in. Geraint Williams now. As Lee Dixon tries to take retribution on Briscoe. Dean Saunders. Back to Geraint Williams. He's got Pickering cross. Here's Pickering. Pickering trying the shot, but doesn't get anything behind it. The least you can say about that was it was on target. No trouble to John Lukic. Kevin Campbell, good control. Tries to lay it off, but Williams in first. Beats Richardson. Saunders back to Briscoe. Briscoe looking for Pickering, but bowled there. Foul by Harford on Michael Thomas. Free kick to Arsenal. Smith turning Rob Hindmarsh, tries to get the ball through, but Mark Wright intercepts, beating Kevin Campbell. Wright coming forward, the poor pass by him, but Adams makes a mess of it. Saunders, and with a shot like that, Dean Saunders won't add to his 21 goals. Again, conditions tricky. Easy for the crowd to laugh as they did, but with the wind and the bubbly pitch, it's so easy to miscue. Michael Forsyth beats Perry Groves. Lee Dixon lets it go into touch. Pat Saunders has scored once in the last 4 games after Spello scoring that goal, in fact, was 1 of 4 in 5. Mel Sage heading out. Robert Briscoe back to Michael Forsyth. For Nick Pickering. It's Mark Wright. It's Steve Boulder headed it forward first. Now it's Kevin Richardson, Geraint Williams to Mel Sage, birthday boy today. He's tackled by Kevin Campbell. Throw into Geraint Williams. Steve Adams up with Mick Harford. Tony Adams, not Steve Adams. Winterburn into touch to deprive Saunders. Quick throw by Saunders to Paul Williams. W today. Brought down by Winterburn. Not afraid to go forward, Paul Williams. Factor which from his fullback position has earned him the nickname of Josimar, or Jossie from his teammates, in relation to Josimar, the Brazilian fullback. Love to attack. Mel Sage to take the kick. Bold and Richardson facing the kick. Mark Wright and Rob Hindmarsh are up for Derby County. Low one act. Slices off Michael Thomas to a grateful John Lukic. Looks as if the clearance was going to be easy, but I think the conditions again playing tricks, causing Michael Thomas to mistime his kick. And Smith knocks it down, only for Mel Sage. Sage just caught by Campbell, who pleads innocent. Free kick to Derby County, midway inside their own half. Quarter of an hour gone. Derby County 0, Arsenal 1. 6-minute goal by Martin Hayes. The difference between the two sides. Mark Wright, flick on by Harford. A good one is Pickering. Going forward, no penalty, says the referee, but a corner is given. Referee Allison was adamant as soon as Pickering went down. There was no penalty, but the corner. Derby's first, a short one by Briscoe to Sage. Briscoe now to put it in with his left foot. Bold heads out, knocked on by Hayes. It's Campbell, tackled by Forsyth, but it drops for Hayes again. And here's Smith. Derby defence stretched. There's only Briscoe and Hindmarch back. Wright's back now with Groves. Ball falling for Dixon now. Pickering picks up but doesn't control it. Perry Groves in, and that's Richardson, high, wide and handsome, and a corner is given. Ball flicking off the Derby defender. That accelerated its elevation. John Lukic is out of picture, of course, at the moment, but he's midway inside his own half. He's come right out of his penalty area to issue instructions. It's Kevin Richardson to take the kick. And the big men are up. The full-backs, Derby pulled everybody back, so Bold is on the edge of the 6-yard area, this near edge. Aim for him, but he swung it. Richardson swung it behind the goal. Wasted it. He was aiming for Steve Bold. Peter Shilton's kick, flick on by Harford. Michael Thomas is challenged by Pickering. Briscoe now chasing Dixon. That's Campbell. Good ball to Richardson. And a foul is given. The referee seems to be giving everything to Arsenal's way at the moment. I think it's called Rob Hindmarch's side. In fact, booked Rob Hindmarch at Vale Park in the first game of that third round cup tie. So the injury there to the Arsenal player. Physio is on to administer the remedy to an Arsenal player who's gone. It's Kevin Richardson, in fact. Just couldn't remember who he was as he lay there. Former Everton and Watford player, Kevin Richardson. And again, Martin Hayes and Michael Thomas with this effort, and it'll be the other fullback, Lee Dixon, to have a go at this one, I think. No. Michael Thomas chips it, headed out by Hindmarch. Winterburn back to Dixon. Hindmarch coming in on Smith, but beaten by him. Paul Williams now wins the throw off Martin Hayes. No mistaking the two Williamses. Paul being of a darker hue. Geraint Williams tackled by Michael Thomas, comes to Kevin Campbell. Thomas carries on running. Ball goes across to Groves. Briscoe coming back at him, and shot by Groves. Shilton on the edge of his 6-yard area makes a good stop. Peter Shilton. Flick on by Harford to Saunders. Saunders not with much support. Wants Williams to go wider. This is Paul Williams. This is crossover. And that's Lee Dixon. Balls for Robbie Briscoe. Grounds it. Looking for support. Has to play it right back to Michael Forsyth. Saunders. Briscoe coming inside. Saunders on the left. Gets it a bit confused between his legs. Throwing to Arsenal. Dixon. Back to Lukic. Score to 21 minutes, Derby County 0, Arsenal 1. Flick on by Campbell, trying to find Smith. That's Hindmarsh to Geraint Williams. Nick Harford chest down, only finds Hayes. Down by Richardson to Winterburn. It's Rob Hindmarsh for Derby County, into touch. Playing the safe ball. Winterburn with a throw. Looking for Alan Smith, Mark Wright behind him. Geraint Williams got the foot in. Falls for Lee Dixon, across to Michael Thomas. He only finds Robert Briscoe for Derby County. Dean Saunders. Saunders trying to use his pace down that left flank. Cuts inside. Briscoe takes over. Briscoe with a cross, offside. Crowd up there, quickly to remonstrate with the linesman. The offside flag went up straight away as soon as the pass was made. Lucas's kick. Geraint Williams tries an acrobatic clearance, doesn't work. Richardson across to Winterburn, faced by Sage, down the line to Hayes, back to Winterburn, into Campbell. Mark Wright now with a bouncing ball going in his favour. It's Dean Saunders, good control by the Welshman. Now Robert Briscoe. Perry Groves going over to challenge him. And a foul on Briscoe by Groves, and a free kick to Derby County. Rob Hindmarsh going up, coming on this near side, the far side to Robert Briscoe, and onto the edge of the area. Mark Wright staying back with Kevin Campbell in the centre circle. Briscoe with a kick. Kick for the far post, Harford and Hindmarsh there, and it's Hindmarsh who got the touch. Goal kick. Lukic with the kick, the same attempt. Sage and Wright combine between them to get the ball back to Peter Shilton, and Mark Wright goes down. Mel Sage caught him. Lack of understanding there between the two Derby defenders. Peter Shilton's kick, Mick Harford picks up, doesn't control it well, but it gets the ball back now to Williams. That's Geraint Williams, flicks off Harford again. Michael Thomas clears to Kevin Campbell. Mark Wright in quickly, but Campbell controls the ball. Mark Wright in again. Ball across to Lee Dixon though. Alan Smith. Back to Richardson. Hindmarsh got in the way. Paul Williams coming for Derby County. Martin Hayes beats Alan Smith. Gets the ball back to Michael Forsyth. Lee Dixon picks up for Arsenal. Michael Forsyth unable to get the ball to a Derby shirt. 25 minutes of the first half gone, 20 minutes left in this first period. Score Derby County 0, Arsenal 1. Rob Hindmarsh, Michael Harford. Geraint Williams to Dean Saunders, race with Bold, and it's wide of the post. Lukic just did enough, I feel, to make the Welshman strew the ball wide of the far post. Certainly Steve Boulder got no answer to Dor Saunders' pace there, and Lukic had to come and spread himself, and Saunders going further wide all the time. It's made it all the more difficult. Wright looking for Paul Williams. He gets the touch. Throw into Arsenal. Referee Allison having a word with Williams, quite rightly too, because he did use the elbow on Nigel Winterburn. Doesn't get the free kick though, but has a word with Paul Williams. And a foul in the back of Mel Sage by Kevin Campbell gives Derby County a free kick into Geraint Williams. Rob Hindmarch across to Michael Forsyth. Forsyth, Steve Bold beaten by Harford on the bounce of the ball. Saunders down to Harford again. Tries to play the ball through for Pickering, but goes straight through to Lukic. Rob Hindmarsh into touch. Throw into Arsenal, just inside the Derby half. Alan Smith. Michael Thomas. He's Pickering. Forward for Campbell, tries to turn right. But the referee goes to play on. Campbell thought he was impeded. Peter Shilton. Briscoe knocks it forward for Harford. Back to Briscoe, looking for support. Saunders. Well, Adams gets the foot in, but Saunders tackles back. Williams now back to right. Campbell comes across. Right beats him comprehensively. Across to Michael Forsyth, who dithers, and Perry Groves is away. He's got Smith and Campbell up. Ball coming across for Campbell, and it's a goal, 2-0. A goal reminiscent of the one that Ormond Royd scored last week for Aston Villa. Michael Forsyth selling Derby short there, dithering about with the ball. Perry Groves exacted the retribution on him, took it away, and his cross hammered into the net by Kevin Campbell for the second Arsenal goal, coming in 28 minutes. So Derby County are mounting to climb now, 2-0 down. Saw them do it in the late 70s when they were 2-0 down against Arsenal, and they came back to win 3-2, and that was with a patched up side. And Baden McCaffrey scored one of the goals for Derby. Here's Paul Williams. Harford to Saunders. Saunders again, ball control letting him down. I think this is what has let Derby down, the first touch, and Arsenal have been quick to close down. Mel Sage now with a left foot cross. And Mick Harford beaten by Thomas. Steve Bold to Perry Groves, who put across a beautiful ball for that second goal. Michael Forsyth. Geraint Williams to Rob Hindmarsh. So if Derby County had the equal best defensive record in the division before the start of the game, they haven't got it now. Tony Adams into touch, and Adams in fact had a second kick at Williams, missed him. Geraint Williams into Nick Pickering, beaten by Thomas. Perry goes in quickly, and this is where Arsenal are the better side. They're much quicker, and there's Kevin Campbell, saved by Shilton, but he was offside. With the Derby County midfield not functioning as effectively as it should. Now coming with the likes of McMinn and Micklewhite, Steve Cross, for instance, and Mark Patterson and Trevor Hebard missing, all those midfield players. It's not surprising Derby struggling in that department. Geraint Williams now looking for Harford. Comes to Robert Briscoe. Just wide of the left-hand post, so although Arsenal are 2 up, Derby County have had near misses with Dean Saunders and now Robert Briscoe. Right on the half hour now, with Derby County 0, Arsenal 2, the score. Michael Forsyth forward, Lee Dixon. Geraint Williams looking for Robert Briscoe or Saunders. Saunders goes to control it, gets the second chance, but Tony Adams out. Not quite out, Lee Dixon's caught it. Downfield to Kevin Campbell, Rob Hindmarsh into touch. So what was a promising attack by Derby. sees Arsenal reverse the situation. Alan Smith, faced by Forsyth. Forsyth got the foot in, but it's Kevin Richardson. Rob Hindmarch. Michael Forsyth went into touch, throw in. That's Alan Smith winning the ball. Rob Hindmarch clearing. Only to Lee Dixon though. Perry Groves out on the Arsenal right. Into Dixon. Dixon with the cross. Mark Wright heads clear. Briscoe in. And he comes to Richardson though. Winterburn. Beats Paul Williams. To Campbell. Good turn by Campbell to get round Sade. He has to do it again. Let's play it. Harford to Geraint Williams looking for Saunders. Bold in there. And Tony Adams. Only for Robert Briscoe. He's got time to control it. Brings it down onto the floor, but Campbell tackles him. Forsyth trying to find Pickering, but Richardson in quickly. Throw into Derby County. The wind certainly playing tricks as Derby County are playing with it. But, not a lot of advantage. Throw into Arsenal. Dixon. Campbell. Hindmarch for Derby. Campbell again though to Alan Smith. Good footwork there by Alan Smith. Kevin Richardson back to Steve Bold. Lee Dixon. Robert Briscoe. Bold though for Arsenal. Groves. Overhead to Alan Smith. Good knock on for Richardson, but right in quickly. Hindmarch to Robert Briscoe. Can't control it. Lee Dixon. Mark Wright clears. Now Geraint Williams in a bit of space. Saunders to Pickering, but good tackle by Steve Bold. Kevin Richardson for Arsenal, but nobody there in the red shirt. Peter Shook to set Derby on their way. That's Briscoe. Paul Williams in. Saunders. Good save by Lukic. Good play by Paul Williams to get the chance in for Saunders. And although Derby County are 2 down, scoreline, that's flattering Arsenal a bit. They have taken the 2 chances they've had. Hindmarch doesn't get it over. Winterburn clears towards Martin Hayes. Good play by Hayes. Forsyth again. Doesn't control it. Campbell does. Campbell does. Hayes is in on goal, but Shilton out quickly. Just overhit the pass, but Michael Forsyth not normally like that, and it just shows what tricky conditions there are out there. Winterburn only finds Sage. Paul Williams tackled by Winterburn. Martin Hayes down for Alan Smith. Throw into Derby County. Back to Peter Shilton. David O'Leary, the Arsenal substitute, is warming up. I don't know whether they feel that the hole needs plugging to keep Derby out. Although Arsenal are 2 up, they're looking vulnerable down the middle. And Kevin Campbell is down on the halfway line, holding his, clutching his right ankle. Arsenal physio on again as we await the free kick. David O'Leary is waiting just in case he is required. County had chances. Saunders has had a couple. Briscoe's had one, which have been thwarted. 2 going wide, and the last one by Saunders being saved very well by John Lukic. And Arsenal on their couple of breakaways, goals which have found Derby County defence stretched, have taken full advantage through Martin Hayes, a bit of indecision in 6 minutes, and then 28 Kevin Campbell with a goal identical to the one scored by Ormond Droid at Aston Villa last week. Kevin Richardson back to Lukic. It flicked off Dean Saunders, in fact. We're in the 37th minute of the game. Of course, we have had a couple of minutes or so injury. Mel Sage up well there. Michael Thomas not there. Harford down for Briscoe. Saunders now on the Derby left, faced by Lee Dixon. The Forsyth into Geraint Williams. Geraint Williams looking for support. Forsyth with a low cross. Michael Thomas clears. Geraint Williams tries a fancy kick, which puts Arsenal in possession. Kevin Richardson now down the right flank. High march across to right. Forsyth. Harford controls the ball. Back to Williams. Geraint Williams to Paul Williams. Chests it down well. Winterburn in. Ball force for Saunders. Saunders doesn't get hold of the shot. Panicked in shooting from that way out. Didn't get hold of it at all. Dean Saunders on record is saying he's not happy with his form against Villa last week and at Crystal Palace in midweek. Thirsting for a goal, but getting nowhere near on that occasion. Peter Shilton now for Derby County. It's Tony Adams into touch. Mel Sage to take the throw. Unhappy birthday for him so far. Not for him personally, but team-wise. Playing well enough himself. Dean Saunders back to Geraint Williams. Michael Thomas robs him. Mark Wright picks up. Into Williams. Back to Wright. Striding across the field. Michael Forsyth tackled by Campbell. Briscoe does well, but can't keep the ball in. Well initially in getting the possession, but couldn't quite keep the ball in. Throw into Arsenal. Steve Bold to take it. In fact, no. Back down, of course, to Lee Dixon. Kevin Campbell recovered again. Perry Groves to Alan Smith. Ball drifting out into touch, thrown to Derby. 39 minutes gone, 6 minutes plus injury time left. Arsenal with a 2-goal cushion. Robert Briscoe with overhead kick, but nobody to take advantage of it. John Lukic steadies the ball for Tony Adams. Adams returns the compliment. Lukic brings us out of the area again. Move that Dave Besant pioneered. Paul Williams now on Wright's header, but Adams there to beat Saunders. Alan Smith to Groves. It's Rob Hindmarch now for Derby County. Passes it behind Briscoe. Into Hindmarch again. Hindmarch cut out by Thomas. Rebounds off Harford. Paul Williams giving it a chase, but Bold back to John Lukic. Nick Pickering. All anonymous in this first half, but he's coming forward now. Mick Harford. Robbed by Winterburn. Now Michael Thomas. Body swerve beats Geraint Williams. Looking for Campbell. Mel Sage picks up. Back to Mark Wright. Cross to Rob Hindmarch. Michael Forsyth. Faced by Perry Groves, and Groves causing all sorts of problems to Michael Forsyth. Campbell in there again. Shilton punches it out. Martin Hayes on his own. With the cross. And a goal kick. Michael Thomas getting the foot to the ball. The Derby defence looking strangely, particularly Michael Forsyth, having a nightmare of a time against Perry Groves. Condition's not helping him, but he's not helping himself either. With Shilton's kick. Paul Williams up. Martin Hayes gets his head to the ball. Mel Sage to Geraint Williams. Martin Hayes again in. Peter Shilton to kick again. McCarthy beaten by Adams. Kevin Richardson. Alan Smith. Across to Lee Dixon. Rebounds off Briscoe to Bold. Groves. Throw into Derby County. Dixon wasn't there. Michael Forsyth to take it right in front of the Derby bench. Arthur Cox, Royal Holland, must be a bit perplexed by this scoreline. See how Derby quit themselves in the second half. Mark Wright now into Robert Briscoe. Turns and gives himself space to move on with the ball. Running across. Briscoe to Saunders. Doesn't function there, Saunders. It's Arsenal coming away. Groves skins Michael Forsyth, and Forsyth will be lucky not to escape booking. And stern word from referee Allison, as did Rob Hindmarsh earlier on, but any further. Mel Sage now for Derby. I was going to say any further excursions into the foul tackles will earn them a booking, no doubt. Peter Shilton now for Derby County. Two minutes plus injury time left in this first half. Arsenal 2-0 to the good. Tony Adams coming. Clearing to Kevin Campbell, but Mark Wright's there first, inside to Geraint Williams. Robert Briscoe, back to Geraint Williams. Harried by Alan Smith, across to Michael Forsyth. Offside against Robert Briscoe. Free kick to Arsenal. Lee Dixon to take it. Back to John Lukic. That's Hindmarsh winning well. Saunders not doing. Thomas flicks on. Hindmarsh beating Smith again, but fouling him. Free kick to Arsenal. Kevin Richardson, headed out by Michael Harford to Richardson again. Lee Dixon. Dixon down for Campbell, faced by Hindmarsh. Gets a crossover. And that's Alan Smith hits the bar. Hayes in with a third goal. No question. No question, it was goal number 3. Martin Hayes with his second. Right on half-time in the 45th minute. Derby County 0, Arsenal 3. Referee Allison looking at his watch. Marked it down as 44 minutes in view of the injury time. Peter Shilton. Mick Harford. Paul Williams. Winterburn to Williams. Saunders. Paul Williams. Tried to guide it in with his left foot. Didn't make too bad a job of it. Offside flag went up. Wouldn't have counted anyway. Certainly the Derby defence has been found wanting for once this afternoon. And that's the end of the first half. A very poor one for Derby County. A very good one for Arsenal to keep their faint title hopes alive. Goals in the 6th minute and 44th minute by Martin Hayes, and one in the 28th minute by Kevin Campbell have given Arsenal a 3-0 lead and given Derby plenty to think about at half-time. We look forward to some of a comeback in the second half for Derby County. And there it is then at half-time. Derby County 0, Arsenal 3.